I've just finished a private lesson with someone who has been quite poorly with bronchitis and needed to expand the chest in order to kind of get rid of catarrh. So being inspired by that wonderful lesson, I thought I would do the same thing here with you. So this is particularly dedicated if you've been quite poorly, maybe with a chest infection or something, and just need to liberate what's left of the illness in your lungs. But in any case, this is still really good if you're just wanting a session which is slightly more passive and dedicated to opening up the chest. So you're going to need a chair, probably a second yoga mat to cover the seat of the chair, or maybe a towel, and we'll also grab an elastic. So we'll sit kind of halfway between the front and the back of the chair, and we'll grab the elastic. Now, elastics, as I've said in previous sessions, have got different strengths. This is a kind of medium strength, so I'm going to just fold it in half like so, but obviously that is up to you. And then I'm just going to leave the elastic there and put my hands on the back of the chair like so. Breathe out a minute. And then I feel what the base of my abdomen and what the solar plexus are doing. We should know by now what they're supposed to do, but allow that solar plexus to roll up towards the ceiling. And also I would ask you to really press your feet strongly into the ground, because that helps in terms of this kind of vague, gentle anterior pelvic tilt, and allows us to connect feet more strongly with the hips. And then that also allows for further opening up of the chest. So if at any point you're unsure, then just see me from the side. And keep your feet and knees squeezing together. Push the feet into the ground. And you can see already by pushing the feet into the ground, this allows my torso to just gain an extra few millimeters. Elbows coming back behind me, and my head really doesn't do anything apart from follow the lead of my solar plexus. So it's probably best to actually push the back of the chair away with the palm of your hand. And watch the breathing. And then when you release your hands, don't release the work in the feet, the legs, the hips, and the torso. The fronts of the hands can then be placed on the thighs. Feel that the weight of the hands and the elbows are dragging the shoulders down, but are not dragging down the torso, which continues to go up towards the ceiling. So you should be feeling quite a lot of work still in the hips. And note as well the 80 degrees between the thighs and the torso. And then when you do relax, notice that we all collapse, maybe a couple of millimeters down. Grab your elastic. And then let's do the same thing again. So first of all, squeezing the thighs and the knees towards each other. Maybe they'll touch, maybe they won't. It's fine. And then from the squeezing action of your knees and thighs, press down strongly into your feet. So the feet are almost sliding, while pressing down, they're almost sliding forward. And that allows you to gain access to your hips. Hold the belt or the elastic 50 centimeters more or less apart between the hands. And then on the next exhalation, we're going to move forward with our arms, but we're not going to drag the torso back. We're going to keep the torso where it is and move our arms up as much as they will go. And the first time you do this, don't try too hard. This is very, very strong. And this is all part of opening up the chest and using the breath more intelligently with the expanded space that we have. And then when you bring your arms down, Don't allow your chest to collapse. From there, we're just going to lean back, interlace our fingers, and come back over the backrest and have a break. This is a passive break, which still nonetheless opens up your chest. Here you can particularly feel the solar plexus sliding towards the head. So this is still quite strong. I would personally still keep up the squeezing action of the knees and the thighs, although you'll notice that it's way less strong now that we've got this significant retroversion of the hips. But nonetheless, still do that. It's not going to hurt anyhow. And then on the next few exhalations, we can try and delegate more weight into the hands. And as we do that, the elbows start to descend. So this is one of the passive positions that we can easily do virtually when we find ourselves sat down anyway, even at the office. And then to come out, obviously protecting your neck, you lift the head up with your hands. And then we can repeat the exercise with the elastic. So squeeze your legs, push the feet into the ground to add dynamicism to the hips. And then with your hands more or less 50 centimeters apart, on the next inhalation, we can start to bring our arms up. Now remember, if you do realize that the more you bring your arms back, the more you're leaning back, then stop what you're doing. Go back to the place where you're starting to lean back, and that's where you've got to really discipline yourself not to move from. So the more your arms go back, to a certain extent, the more your chest has got to move forward and up. And in turn, that means that your torso still remains nice and neutral, and you're not compromising the chest and therefore the breathing at all. Now with the elastic, you can try and separate your hands a wee bit more. And so you'll feel that there's a bit of work now going into the arms. Keep the breathing going, nice and fluid the breathing. Don't get tight in the throat. So with the arms up in this manner, this is really, really great warm-up exercises for things like Urdhva Hastasana, where the hands come over the head, and which, as far as the positioning of the arms goes, is actually really quite tiring to do. So this is really, really good preparatory work. And then when you bring your arms down, remember, don't touch that torso at all. Keep that nice and neutral. The more your arms move down, the more the spine just extends up to the sky. And then you can just lean back onto the backrest, interlace your fingers. And again, let's go into this lovely passive position where the backrest and its pressure against the shoulder blades opens up your chest in the most magnificent manner. And then breathe into that space created, any amount. Make your head as heavy as it will possibly go. Bring your elbows as close to the ground as they can. And then put the focus on clear cycles of breathing. Inhalation with an open throat, and exhalation with an open throat. And then breathing in, we can just come up. Bring our hands to the sides of the chair. And we'll just sit again. So we'll be doing another passive chest opener, again using the chair. Now, if you have a look at this, this is a yoga chair where there's no backrest, okay? So this is ideal, it's also nice and sturdy. You could also use something like this where there's space underneath, okay? If you've got a backrest which goes from top to bottom without a break, then this is what you would need to do. You just simply go onto the side, like so, and you sit in this way, and then when we start to come down and lie on the backrest, well, you'll see what I mean in just a minute. So I'm going to walk through, like so, sit down, and then immediately I'm going to put the sacral part of my back onto the outer rim of the chair. And from there I'm going to lie down. Now, when I lie down, note that I don't put my head down. So my head is still up. The neck is the most fragile part of all. So when we're coming in or out, we make sure that the head is taken care of before we do anything else. So now what I want to do is take care of that head by interlacing the fingers, putting it behind my head. And then from there, I can just ascend. Now, the first thing that I'm going to really feel is the nearest edge of the chair pushing into my shoulder blades and therefore opening it up in a wonderful way. And as I say, it's passive, so if you've been feeling unwell, this is just really, really nice. And it allows your body to more easily get rid of, kind of any catarrh that might still be hanging around. So if you are sick and you're doing this, then maybe grab a box of tissues or something, because when you come up, you'll probably want to cough. And it may be the case, even if you're not sick, you might still want to cough. It's a natural reaction after the expansion of the chest that we're doing. So the longer we stay here, the more we can delegate the weight of our head into our hands, and we can help that again by pushing our feet into the ground. So by pushing the feet into the ground, you feel that the body slides back a tiny bit and into the hands more firmly, yeah? And then, along with the head coming further into the hands, we can separate as much as we possibly can those elbows. Again, go back to the breathing and watch it. Lift your head with your hands, and you should be seeing the backrest at this point, yeah? If you're lying on the side, crossways along the chair, obviously you'll just be seeing your thighs. The head at this point is autonomous, so we don't need to worry about the neck anymore. At this point, we can just put our elbows onto the seat of the chair, maybe push away with our hands against the backrest, and start to move out until we're in a seated position like so. So you see, at all times, the priority is making sure I'm not doing anything kind of risky with the cervical part of the spine. We're going to spend just a minute sitting like this, and again we'll go back to that exercise that we did at the start, obviously without the elastic. This time we're going to push against the backrest. If you don't have the backrest, or rather if you're sitting by the side like so, then you could separate the legs and sit like this. It's slightly different, but nonetheless, what I'm wanting to do is to go back to the 2 points of the torso and particularly think about drawing up the solar plexus towards the head and behind. So whether you're on, whether you have your legs separate or they're still together, we push against the backrest, but that doesn't allow us to come back. We're going to push forward and yet still push forward with our chest, but use that pushing action to help us get momentum in the solar plexus to move up towards the ceiling. Shoulders down. Shoulders don't do anything. The shoulders are dragged down by the elbows. Squeeze the knees together, squeeze the thighs together. So we'll do the same thing. I'm going to do it in the way of people who don't have the backrest like this. So when you're ready, we're going to put that sacral part of the spine. It's basically at the beginning of the, I'm trying to be as polite as possible. It's basically at the beginning of where you have your butt crack, to be quite honest with you, okay? So put that there, and then you can just lie down like so. See, again, your head is looking in front. You are not compromising your neck in any way. Now, interlace the fingers, put the head in the hands, and you're good to go. So this exercise, this passive opening of the chest, is still entirely possible even if you don't have a proper yoga chair. The important thing is that the chair is sturdy and you can trust it. If you can't, then do something else. So again, exhale, move those elbows as far away as you possibly can. Reaching the floor, touching the floor. Press a little bit with your feet. So this injects a little bit more energy and encourages that solar plexus to move even more towards the head. Now, if you know you don't have problems with the neck, you could even consider dropping the hands down like so, maybe separating the hands. If there's any issue with the neck, then you just keep the hands where they are. And then, first things first, lift the head with the hands until you are seeing your knees, your thighs, or the backrest. Then from there, the head is perfectly fine. You don't need to worry about it anymore. And you can just sit up. So that was a view using a normal chair. I'm now going to go back to the yoga chair, given that I've got it. And we're going to do the same exercise again, but when we're down, every now and then we're going to slide back in that direction. What that will mean is that this part of the chair, which starts off here, is going to slowly but surely start to work a little lower in the back when we move. And then after a certain period, we'll move again to work another vertebra slightly lower until such time as we want to stop. Okay? So start off as before. Hands protecting the neck. We come back. Do a few sighs. Feel the openness of the chest correspond with the openness of the throat. And then from there, only if you want, if you're feeling you're at your maximum already, then please don't move. But if you feel you can go a little bit more, you could slide maybe a centimetre out. So we're going in the direction of the head, okay? So you'll feel the front edge of the seat part of the chair a little lower as regards its contact with your spine. And spend a moment just feeling what's going on with this tiny movement that we've just done. How is it affecting our diaphragm, the opening of our chest, the sensations that we're feeling, the breathing itself. Now, if you're happy, you could maybe slide a little bit further, maybe another centimetre, half a centimetre, a few millimetres in the direction of your head. And again, observe the lower abdomen needs to go in towards the spine. So please be aware that the lower abdomen work it just a little bit. Again, without tightness, without being aggressive. But yes, it needs to work. And then with this new position that the spine finds itself in relation to the edge of the chair. You can maybe feel a little heavier in the hands. You can maybe try and work your elbows back a little bit. But again, your point of departure is yourself. What do you feel you can do? And then on the next inhalation, you lift your head first. And take as much time as you need. So your head should be nice and high now. Lower abdomen is still obviously moving in to protect your spine. And then you leave your head where it is. And with the support of your arms and your hands, you can just sit up a moment. And again, go back to pressing the backrest away if you've got it. Or if you don't have it, remember you'll have to sit in front with your legs to the side. And then from there, pressing against the backrest. Bring the chest forward towards that. Squeeze your knees and thighs. Your feet can be separate, but still think of squeezing a little bit those thighs and knees towards one another. Press away. Bring the chest forward. Press the feet into the ground. And then feel the solar plexus slide up towards the head while the shoulders and the elbows slide down towards the ground. Okay, and we'll just do that one last time. This is strong, but make no mistake, this is actually passive. Because imagine if we were holding the shape of this body with our arms. Be the proper Dhanurasana, which is a back bend. Not interested. Let's just concentrate on opening up our chest. So by now you know the drill. The head is the last thing, and you protect it by allowing it to sink into your hands, to come down. And then if you're good to go already, some of us have just got naturally flexible spines, or just have bodies that are naturally lacking in rigidity, in which case already start to move in the direction of your head, maybe a centimetre. If you don't want to move, that's absolutely fine. Breathe at all times. Register what's happening in the throat. Register that you are actually breathing in properly and breathing out properly. This is a very, very strong chest opener, but torso opener in general. You should be feeling the skin of the tummy quite tight by doing this, yeah? So any kind of tightness that we have, any kind of rigidity in the torso is not going to be good. So get rid of that rigidity by following the breathing closely and making sure those cycles of inhalation and exhalation are nice and clear and rhythmical. Then, if you want to come down a little bit more, you can. Keep your legs and feet parallel. If you wish to release your arms, you may do so, but again, you only release the arms if you know you don't have any particular problems with the neck. If there's any kind of unsureness, it's best to be safe. So keep your hands around your head if you're unsure. And then you can lift your head up with your hands until you feel that your neck is no longer a problem. And then push up with your elbows, your arms, your hands. And once more, just sit, pushing away the backrest, bringing your chest towards it, really using your feet to not only engage with the floor, but to communicate with the hips. And feel the soaring sensation of the spine as the muscles and skin and everything else of the body just simply dissolves. So we're going to do a really nice passive chest opener. You'll need a bolster. which is that kind of thick sausage-like cushion. If you don't have one, remember just to grab 2 pillows from your bed and put one of the pillows in the pillowcase of the other, and it becomes this nice kind of, well, sausage-like bolster, okay? So that's how you get round not having at least that piece of equipment. We're going to put ourselves into Baddha Konasana, so remember, that's where the feet come together and the legs come out to the side. And we'll sit 10-15 centimeters away from the bolster in front, and supporting ourselves with our hands behind us, we will start to come down and onto the bolster. So more or less where my solar plexus is at the back, that's where my bolster is going to touch me. Now again, my head is up. I haven't put it down because I'm going to actually accompany my head all the way down with my hands, and I'll leave my hands there. So I've got my elbows coming out to the side and I've got my legs coming out to the side. And you can feel that the presence of the bolster is opening up my chest. Maybe less intensely than before, but it's still doing a pretty good job. If you're not feeling it, then maybe just lift up your head. Maybe try and change your position a little bit. You really need to get the edge of the bolster onto that equivalent position of the solar plexus on the posterior part of your body. And then you can try again. If you have problems with your neck, then maybe put another cushion or a brick or a block under your head and hands. And then the point of this is to intensify the opening of the chest by moving our elbows down to the sides. And as we move the elbows down to the sides, try and put a little bit more pressure onto your pelvis. So get the weight of the body moving into the pelvis. And you'll feel that with the weight moving into the pelvis, you have more of a presence between the dorsal part of your spine and the bolster. And with every exhalation, feel that those elbows can eventually start to move, if not touch, the floor underneath. So this is strong work for the arms, strong work for the armpits, but well worth it. And you feel this incredible connection between chest openness and the state of your armpits, the state of your upper arms, and of course your shoulders. So to breathe well, we need to make sure that our arms are moving well. Over and above, obviously, the fact that our torso needs to also move well. So it's always this chain of events, chain of movements, and obviously logically muscle chains that we're permanently dealing with for any movement we're contemplating doing. Now, if things are going well, maybe your elbows are already on the ground, then you could maybe just lift up your head, move your forearms to the side, and do a kind of cactus position of your arms. So that means having your elbows more or less in line with your shoulders, elbows on the ground, of course, and then a 90-degree, i.e. cactus look between the forearm and the upper arm. That's quite hard to do as well because of the state of shoulders. So if you're struggling with that, then I'd just say leave your hands under your head.